Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Tanks Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, entertainment purposes only. The investment I'm going to talk about today would be Ethereum, ticker ETH. So with respect to Ethereum, it seems like we've been consolidating for quite some time now, right? Ever since that dip that we experienced on May 19th and the subsequent weekends, that would have that like kind of a spiral type of zigzag type of momentum volatility that we've been experiencing so far, right? Kind of hovering around like the $2,450 on the low point and to the 2,750 or even 2,800 as a level of the peak. So we've been kind of bouncing up on those levels on a sideways fashion at the moment. So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis to see where do we see the Ethereum price point going from here, and how do we utilize this consolidation opportunity to make some quick bucks on a sideways swing trade perspective. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum. So let's just do a recap on historical levels first, right? You could see that ever since the beginning on April 23rd, we're trading around like the $2,200 level before the whole rally that we were experiencing with respect to the Coinbase IPO adoption, with respect to more good news about Ethereum 1.0 shifting to 2.0 adoption and utilization, and also with respect to the Elon Musk SNL pump that he was expected to debut on the second week of May, which subsequently drove up this whole rally, right? And subsequent to the SNL show, which I understood that was on a Saturday, throughout the midnight through Sunday morning, we had that experience of a sell-off, right? Because a lot of people had a pretty bad media affectation and a pretty bad resonance around like the way that Elon Musk, kind of explained the utilizations for Dogecoin, which subsequently had some type of like negative correlations throughout the whole cryptocurrencies market. And on top of that, because of the fact that you could see just how stretched the logic has been, right, with respect to the supply and demand dynamics, how overbought we were on the RSI perspective, right, and on the MACD perspective, that it was just bound to have a major sell-off, knowing the fact that, the two lines are majorly crossing, with a relatively large separations in between, right? And that means there was a lot of drag, a lot of euphoric pump that was subsequently propelling the price upward, but without any substantial or like substantive type of utilization in actual adoption, but rather than just people buying based on emotions, right? And just because of that, the balloon basically popped on that day on May 12th, and you can see that the balloon basically popped based on the fact that one of the big whales decided to sell. And when one of the big whales decided to sell, that subsequently created the small candle here and a little bit of a smaller candles here. Which is driven by mostly the retail investors that got shooken off, right? And some people actually thought that was the dip, right? Because of the relatively large candle, we kind of went up all the way, but went down all the way at the same time. So some people actually thought that was the dip, right? So a lot of FOMO was happening. However, you could see that, logically speaking, you could see how shallow the candle was with respect to the dip, right? So this is not really a consolidation. This was just basically some people taking profit, right? It was not really a test of the water, if you may. And then subsequently, people got screwed and got trapped into that cage and immediately got sold off. And when another red candle that came in, more institutional investors sold off, that subsequently drove a whole market sell off, and that's how we eventually dip all the way down to this $3,298 level. And this level is really tested again because of the fact that we had this one-time consolidation that we formed on May 6th, right? So people were kind of testing the water around these level before that huge pump up to the $4,400 level, right? However, you could see that very logically speaking, you could see that how shallow again, right, with respect to comparable that you see on top here, how shallow and non-substantive is that consolidation level, which subsequently drove another sell-off, right? And subsequent to that, we had that huge gap that need to form, right? Because you could see that historically it was just like green, 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 and green, green away without any consolidation or without any like water testing or like kind of contemplation with respect to like, oh, is this a good price point for you to get in? We didn't really get a sense of like the market appetite. It was just euphoric pump and away, right? Which subsequently drove this mega sell-off, with respect to this mega balloon pop that happened on May 19, which subsequently sold all the way down to this level at one point, right? To the $1,750 level, right? And immediately got bought up because of the fact that stretched the supply and demand logics extremely, that, whatever goes down really, really fast get bought up really, really fast, and that's how you create this mega green candle immediately, across the market. And that green candle, because of the inertia and how strong the propelling was with respect to this momentum, it shot up all the way to the close to the 2,981 level at one point, which, as you can see, that was non-substantive level of the peak, which immediately got sold off again, right? So that was a very logical play because of lack of substance that we've had at these levels, which is all green without any consolidation, right? And subsequent to that, over the course of the couple weeks so far, we've just been kind of consolidated sideways right now. So we're kind of bouncing off the walls, like left and right, with respect to this level of resistance at $2,100 and $2,200 level, which is like a secondary resistance level that would form, a lot of times in the past, before this whole rally up, right? So with respect to like a swing trade type of momentum, knowing the fact that we're kind of consolidating right now, if people are, a little bit more adventurous, if you may, I think, trading around these levels, around like the $2,750 at the peak, or the low points of the $2,450 level. So like, for example, right, you could buy at the $2,450 level, right, and then sell on the $2,750 level, right, and then wait for the dip to go back down to somewhere around that 2,450, or even possibly going down to the $2,200 or $2,100 level, right? And buy at the bottom, and then subsequently ride back up to the 2,750, right? And I think the consolidation is going to continue to happen. And I think with respect to today, we're going to see a little bit more of a green day because we're still testing away. We're still going to pump up more up to the $2,750 level, which you could see we are kind of trending to that level right now. So I don't advise buying it at the moment. I advise buying on the dip in the coming days, which I will foresee, knowing the fact that we're kind of just trading sideways right now. So so this is like a perfect swing trade type of section that you have here, and the price point and the fluctuations and how the characteristics is performing right now based on the MACD and the RSI level, just kind of hovering away, shows a great sign of consolidation that we're gonna be enduring for for quite some time until that next catalyst that we'll be expecting with respect to more news about adoptions for Ethereum 2.0, or with respect to more utilizations or more media exogenous affectations, that will affect the influence or emotions of public investors, which is most of the time the key drivers of the pump, which you saw that historically, right? So right now, I think in terms of like the risk reward ratio perspective, I think buying it at the $2,450 level, that's a great price point for you to get in. If you think about swing trading or holding on long term, or anywhere around like the $2,200, $2,100 level, or anything around like the low $2,000 level is a great price point for you to get in for long term gains perspective, but also in the swing trade perspective at the same time. So these are very interesting, sweet area for you to like start buying in and start chipping in, to hopefully, make some quick bucks here and there, right? Because like, a couple $100 here and there, buying a couple Ethereum here and there, can, massively, compound into your return, right? So these are great areas and interesting areas for you to buy in. And you might even ask, are we going to go down anytime soon to like the 1731 or like the low 1800? I think the likelihood of that will be relatively low because of the fact that we have kind of abused the logics historically already because of those like really bad media affectation and black swan events. But if we do get down to like 1750, I would be so happy to buy up even more Ethereum for a long-term gain. But just know that those opportunities are relatively rare, and I think Coinbase or one of those like apps that you could buy on the phone might fail on you because that would just trigger a massive buy order in the market that will subsequently crash the system. So good luck to you if you could try to get in, but it seems like I don't think based on the chart right now we will see that in the near term. Let's go over the numbers in a more simplistic perspective. So I think currently the swing trade levels will be anywhere at the bottom around like the $2,450 level. That would be a great price point for you to buy in for a swing trade perspective, selling around like the $2,750 level, or holding it for long term, right? Because in the long term perspective, Ethereum is going to get more adaptation and more utilization going forward. So the price will subsequently grow up from there. So just a matter of like, are you more of a short-term trader or you more of a long-term investor? So it's really up to you, right? And with respect to if we get down even lower to the secondary resistance level, the $2,100 level, that's even a better price point. I think I would very happy to buy some at these level, right? And if we even get to a black swan event, 1750, that's even a more amazing price point, right? But again, the likelihood of us like being able to buy at these levels would be relatively rare because like, that's why Coinbase crashed on that day when we hit that level. And I foresee something comparable might happen in the future when that happens, right? It's unfortunate, and it's a lot of manipulations that's going on right now, and it's there's nothing really you can do about it. But you can do what you can do is be diligent about like watching the price point going to these levels, and maybe even place a buy order if you even have an option to do that into your system to hope that you could get into these levels, because to get to these levels, the sharp recovery will be relatively quick and sharp. So for you to get to these levels, you have to be extremely cautious, and obviously you have to like look at the price levels like a hawk. Like you have to kind of be stalking your price point for you to get to these levels. So and also on top of that, hope that the Coinbase app or like the app that you're using will come through when you place that order, right? So a lot of like exogenous factors that are out of your control, to be honest with you, right? But if we get there, amazing level. And with respect to my year-end price point, I still stay within my price target of the green highlights that you see here, the $9,800, which subsequently translates to 20% of corporate adoption for your Ethereum. Subsequently, allow you to generate 4 extra money in the next 12 months if you buy at these level at the $24.50 level at the moment. Alright, so that's it for today with respect to my technical analysis on your Ethereum ticker ETH. Really appreciate you guys for dropping by and listening to my insights and my technical analysis, and hope it gives you more clarity and transparencies around like the executions of your trades going forward. Please hit the like button, subscribe button, also that bell notification to watch out for my next video. Take care. Bye.